Kendrick Lamar's pop-out concert on Juneteenth. The highlight was definitely Kendrick Lamar performing Not Like Us 6 times in a row.
Let's try it again.
Now, maybe the audience screamed encourage 5 times, or maybe this was a subtle jab at the sixth god himself. Either way, it's clear that Kendrick was taunting Drake. So the question is, what does Drake do now? Let's face it, hip-hop has never seen a humiliation on such a huge scale before. Fans, podcasters, DJs, rappers, everybody is basically crowning the battle between Drake and Kendrick Lamar as the greatest rap battle of all time.
J-Dot, you are the king of the West. That's the kind of kings do.
But at the same time, Drake's stock has taken a huge nosedive when it comes to public perception. Drake has deleted his diss tracks Family Matters and The Heart Part 6 off his social media pages. There's videos going viral of middle schoolers mocking Drake by singing along to Kendrick's diss track Not Like Us, where he calls him a p***ball. A minor. That lit. Drake is one of the best-selling artists in the world, but after being embarrassed by Kendrick, he's definitely in uncharted territory. Maybe Drake should take some pointers from past rappers who have also had to salvage their careers after beefs didn't go their way.
If you are Drake's PR team, you are his strategy team. What are you doing? What's the strategy?
Let's start with one of the most vicious feuds of the 2000s, 50 Cent and Ja Rule. Both 50 and Ja were rappers who came up from Queens, New York. 50 claims their beef started when a member of Ja's crew, Murder Inc., stabbed him. Ja, meanwhile, claims that 50 was jealous of his success and popularity in New York.
What I've realized is when you entertain clowns, you become a part of the circus.
50 was absolutely relentless in going after Ja and dragging his reputation. He dropped song after song on Ja's head. Your Life's on the Line mocked Murder Inc. and had 50 saying, back down. 50 made fun of Ja's crossover pop songs in his voice. You sing for and sound like the Cookie Monster. And on Wanksta, 50 made up a whole term for industry gangsters. The song blew up in popularity and became a Billboard Hot 100 hit. Ja, meanwhile, struggled to come up with a knockout response. His response track, Clap Back, promised to take 50 to war, but didn't achieve the notoriety that 50's tracks did. Another song, Loose Change, labeled 50 as a snitch, but 50's strategy of spamming Ja Rule with as many diss tracks as possible was too overwhelming for Ja to overcome. Ja's reputation never really recovered after the battle with 50. While Ja enjoyed huge commercial success earlier in his career with blockbuster singles like Always on Time and Mesmerize, the beef with 50 led to a significant decline in his sales and popularity. And because Ja was never able to fully piece it up with 50, 50 has continued to troll and humiliate him to this day. In 2018, 50 bought out 200 front row seats at a Ja Rule show just so Ja would have to perform to an empty arena.
It was like on the what's the name? I just happened to see them on the
On StubHub or something?
yeah, like it was like this for you to buy it, and I was like, they was so cheap, I might as well just buy it.
If you go on X, formerly known as Twitter, right now, people have been tweeting non-stop that Drake is the new Ja Rule. Next up is the battle between one of Drake's former enemies, Common and Ice Cube. In 1994, Common released I Used to Love Her, a song that lamented the direction hip-hop was taking. In I Used to Love Her, Common threw shade at gangster rap and West Coast hip-hop in particular, implying that they were ruining what made hip-hop pure in the first place. Ice Cube, who reps South Central LA and is famous for helping make gangster rap popular, took it very personally. His group, Westside Connection, dropped a diss track called Westside Slaughterhouse, where he ripped up Common. Common fired back with The in You, where he systematically targeted Ice Cube's entire career, claiming that he had fallen off since his first album, alleging that Ice Cube had jacked the East Coast sound to get popular in the first place, and calling him out on his so-called hypocrisy. I heard a say you were a favorite rapper, so I had to slap her and violate you, a Muslim drinking brew. In fact, The in You has since been called one of the best diss tracks of all time. Despite all this, both Common and Cube have gone on to enjoy long, successful careers. In fact, the two of them have actually reconciled and became close friends. There's some pretty important parallels between Common and Cube and Kendrick vs. Drake. A lot of people speculated that Drake would win the beef because he was more battle-tested because of his feuds with Meek Mill, Ye, and Pusha T. Meanwhile, some claim that Kendrick, a so-called conscious rapper, didn't have the viciousness and strategic discipline to win a battle against someone as seasoned as Drake. And I'm sure Drake paid super close attention to what happened after Jay-Z and Nas went head-to-head. As New York rappers, Jay and Nas experienced years of tension between one another before things finally blew up in the early 2000s. Nas was heralded as a critically acclaimed protege who released Illmatic when he was just 20 years old. Jay was seen as the drug dealer turned #1 hustler in the rap game who methodically grew a music career into a multi-million-dollar business empire. By 2001, though, Nas's career was seen widely as trending downward. His follow-up albums to Illmatic got mixed reviews, and fans claimed that he had lost the grit that gave his career a spark in the first place. Jay, meanwhile, was on a rapid ascent to become one of the best-selling rappers out there. When he put out Takeover in 2001, he systematically dismantled Nas's credibility as an artist, breaking down his discography and echoing whispers that he had fallen off. Nas responded by dropping Ether on Jay's birthday, completely changing the narrative. Instead of having fallen off, Nas sounded reinvigorated and more aggressive than ever. He challenged Jay, attacking his personal life, his crew, and mocking him relentlessly. He accused Jay of trying to prey on the legacy of the late Biggie Smalls and stealing his lyrics. How many of Biggie's rhymes are gonna come out your fat lips? Wanted to be on every last one of my classics. Ether was so blistering that it changed the narrative around Nas right away. Instead of people calling Nas irrelevant, fans were now saying that Ether had gassed up his career and given him fresh purpose. Jay-Z was widely seen as having lost the battle, so he dropped another response called Super Ugly that tried to match Nas's viciousness. In Super Ugly, Jay bragged about sleeping with the mother of Nas's child, claiming that he skeeted in your Jeep and left condoms on your baby seat. Instead of outmatching Nas when it came to Venom, Jay was widely criticized for the song. Right after it dropped, Jay appeared on Hot 97 and apologized for Super Ugly, claiming that his own mother told him the song went too far.
And then I go to do a Rockwear campaign in Arizona when this dumb is on the radio, and
That's crazy. Nas is almost unanimously seen as being victorious over Jay. At first, it seemed like their beef had become too bitter and personal to ever come back from. But in 2005, Nas made a surprise appearance at Jay-Z's I Declare War concert, and the two of them performed together. In the years since, they've collaborated numerous times and professed their mutual respect for each other. When the Drake and Kendrick battle first popped off, a lot of people compared their feud to what Jay and Nas went through. Like Jay and Nas, both Drake and Kendrick are commercially successful, extremely famous artists at the top of the rap game. Jay and Nas's beef is considered the heavyweight battle of their generation, just like how Drake and Kendrick's battle is seen today. Maybe the best way for Drake to move past this is to take a page out of Jay's book. If you can't beat him, join him. But maybe the most relevant case study for Drake is a battle he was already involved in, his longtime feud with Pusha T. Back when Drake was a teenager, dreaming of being a rap star, he was a Pusha T super fan. He even went on eBay and bought a microphone that was supposedly autographed by Pusha. Years later, when Drake became a rising star in the rap game, they became bitter rivals. In the song Dreams Money Can Buy, Drake said, "My favorite rappers either lost it or they ain't alive." Pusha interpreted that line as a shot towards him. For years, the two of them went back and forth with subliminal disses. On Exodus 23:1, Pusha threatened Drake and his label bosses Lil Wayne and Birdman. "Beef will have you praying to God, move your kids and have you hiding your mom." On Crosses, Crutches, and Caskets, Pusha implied that Drake doesn't provide for his own mother. "Is there shame when a multi-platinum rapper lives in squalor?" Drake replied on Two Birds, One Stone, where he tried to undercut Pusha's street credibility. "But really, it's you with all these drug dealer stories. That's gotta stop though. You made a couple of chops, now you think you Chapo." In 2018, things heated up when Pusha put out Infrared, where he called out Drake's persona and his reliance on ghostwriters. "How could you ever right your wrongs when you don't even write your own songs?" Drake responded immediately with Duppy Freestyle, where he continued to downplay Pusha's cocaine-selling past and his relevance. "I had a microphone of yours, but then the signature faded. I think it pretty much resembles what's been happening happening lately. Maybe most notably, Drake decided to mention Pusha's then fiance's name by saying, "I told you keep playing with my name and I'ma let it ring on you like Virginia Williams." For his response record, The Story of Adidon, Pusha T went absolutely nuclear. He not only mentioned Drake's mother and father by name, but he made bombshell claims that Drake was hiding a child and was a deadbeat playing border control. He doubled down by mocking Drake's producer OVO 40 for having multiple sclerosis and even shared photos of a younger Drake posing in blackface. And Pusha's response made headlines. He not only outed Drake for having a son named Adonis, but he exposed an alleged Adidas marketing campaign that Drake had planned to use to introduce his child to fans. Instead of recording an official response, Drake posted a written apology for the blackface photos and eventually appeared on LeBron James's interview show, The Shop, to explain why he didn't release another diss record.
I wanted to do other things. I didn't want to further your reputation or your career by rapping back at you and having this exchange. And that was it for me.
Many hardcore hip-hop fans criticized Drake for resorting to PR to reply to Pusha instead of jumping in the booth and making another song. During an interview with Rap Radar, Drake outright admitted that Pusha had won the beef.
So it's not really much I can say better than Drake has a baby. He won. He won off that.
The specter of his loss to Pusha T still haunts Drake's career. During the height of his Kendrick battle, there was a lot of callbacks to his battle with Pusha. Kendrick repurposed lines Pusha used to mock Drake's label situation on Euphoria, and even mentioned Pusha by name. "Yeah, all that pushing P, let me see you Pusha T. You better off spinning again on him, how you think about pushing me. He's Terrence Thornton, I'm Terrence Crawford, yeah, I'm whooping feet." And on Kendrick's Meet the Grams, he accused Drake of hiding another child, doubling down on similar attacks Pusha had used on him years earlier. While Drake's loss to Pusha is obviously a lingering wound, it's safe to say that Drake could try his best to replicate the same strategy he used 5 years ago. Pusha outmaneuvered Drake with what Drake called himself a brilliant chess move. Now that Kendrick's done the same, Drake's best path forward might be copping to the L and moving on to release his next hit record. Even though Drake's battle with Kendrick is generational, there are clearly so many parallels to other famous rap beefs from years ago. So what kind of action plan can Drake craft that might help him move forward? Obviously, he needs to reflect and regroup. This means he should probably acknowledge that Kendrick beat him and that popular opinion is not on his side. Trying to ignore this reality is only going to make him look much more bitter and out of touch. Drake also may want to consider doing some artistic renovation. After taking such a public L, it's only fair to assume that fans are going to want something different from Drake. Drake definitely could take his own lessons when it comes to image management. He locked all the way in on that route after his war with Pusha. If Drake focused on addressing the beef in a controlled manner by relying on documentaries or interviews, he might be able to reclaim his own narrative. But maybe most importantly, Drake could focus on quality over quantity. One of the most persistent criticisms of Drake over the last couple years is that he simply drops too much music. Since 2020, he's dropped 5 different projects, not to mention dozens of feature verses. If Drake were to just dial it back and focus on being a little more selective with his product, it might create more demand for his music post-beef instead of fans taking him for granted.
Exposes Drake affair with Kim.
Like, you are silent in all black issues, Drake. You really are. You are really, really silent. I don't hear about anything. You don't stand for nothing. You don't say nothing about nothing. You don't. It's just what it is. I never felt nothing. And anybody who ever told me that I went too far, I never spoke to him again. I was like, oh shit, war.
So word on the street is that Pusha T might be getting ready to drop another bombshell on Drake. And get this, it's all about Drake's alleged affair with none other than Kim Kardashian. Can you believe it? Who could have guessed that? Now, we all know Pusha and Drake have been beefing for years. Remember when Pusha exposed Drake for having a secret son back in 2018? That track, The Story of Adidon, was brutal. But apparently, Pusha held back some even juicier info back then for personal reasons, and of course didn't want to expose Drake's other alleged daughter, which K-Dot just did if y'all been keeping up with the Kendrick-Drake drama.
What I'm saying is, my peers who, like, in this, they on the gram, they taking pictures, put chains on their sons for their birthday, and, Cal Lady walk around with his son like it's like a thing. And I'm like, again, who is this? Like, you got a whole child that you suppressing. You're not even, you got a whole child that nobody knows about. It's real. It's real. It ain't. Ghostwriting ain't alleged. The reference tracks ain't alleged. The baby ain't alleged. It's not alleged. It's real.
Rumor has it that Pusha knew about Drake allegedly hooking up with Kim K while she was still married to Kanye, but he didn't spill that tea at the time because, well, it was just too messy. Plus, Kanye and Pusha were tight back then.
Yo, this Kanye West right here. You know what we do with this music shit. You know the level we try and take it to. It's Pusha T in the building.
What up? What's the deal? My dark twisted fantasy.
But now, the gloves are off. Kanye's not holding back anymore, and it looks like he might be teaming up with Pusha for round 2 against Drake. Talk about a power duo.
Because it's not just about the elimination of Drake. It's like we're going to tear the head off whoever they got that they thought was in control of. Like, look at this. It's like they running the numbers, they run it on radio, they got the smash, and then...
Here's where it gets really wild. There's talk that Drake might have been involved with not just Kim, but also Kylie Jenner and even Kris Jenner. I know, right? It's like Drake's trying to collect the whole Kardashian-Jenner set or something. Now, Kim has denied these rumors in the past. But you know how it is. Where there's smoke, there's usually fire. And there's been a lot of smoke around this Drake-Kim situation for years. Remember when Drake dropped that track, In My Feelings, with the line, Kiki, do you love me? People went crazy thinking Kiki was Kim's nickname. And then there was all that drama with Kanye accusing Drake of trying to hook up with Kim. It was a whole mess. But here's the kicker. Pusha T might have some receipts this time. And if he does, it could be game over for Drake's reputation in Canada. I mean, imagine if it turns out Drake really did have an affair with Kim while she was married to Kanye. That's not just messy. That's gonna ruin his whole reputation. Speaking of Canada, did you hear about what happened after Pusha dropped the story of Adidon? Apparently, things got so heated that Pusha was basically banned from performing in Canada for a while. Drake's hometown, Toronto, wasn't having any of it. They were like, nope, you can't come here and trash our golden boy like that.
I've been to Canada before. I'm banned from Canada. I'm banned from Canada. Like, I can't get back over there, right? Really? Yeah, I ain't allowed to go back over there.
That's why you gotta squash this beef. I'm trying to go squash
this beef.
It just goes to show how serious this beef is. We're not just talking about a few diss tracks here and there. This is next level stuff. Pusha T literally couldn't set foot in an entire country because he went too hard on Drake.
I have no desire to ever mend anything with that person. And yeah, that situation just went, it just went where it went, and it's just there's no turning back. It's not like those other situations.
But you know what? That might just make Pusha even more determined to go all out this time. If he's already banned in Canada, what's he got to lose, right? And let's not forget about Kanye and all this. He's been on a whole journey of his own lately, and he's not exactly known for holding back. If he really does team up with Pusha for this next diss track, it could be absolutely explosive. Just imagine Pusha T's lyrical skills combined with Kanye's, well, Kanye-ness. That's a recipe for some serious drama. And if they really do have proof about Drake and Kim, oh boy, the internet might just break. Of course, we've got to take all this as just speculation. The rap game is full of rumors and exaggerations. For all we know, this could all be hype to build up anticipation for a track that may never drop. But isn't that half the fun? The speculation, the rumors, the what-ifs? It's like a soap opera, but with better beats and more Twitter drama. One thing's for sure, if Pusha and Kanye do team up for a diss track, it's going to be the talk of the music world for weeks. Get your popcorn ready, because this could be the rap beef of the decade. And hey, who knows? Maybe this time Pusha will get banned from the entire continent of North America. Now that would be something to see. In the meantime, we'll just have to wait and see how this all plays out. Will Drake respond? Will Kim speak up? Will Kris Jenner somehow turn this into another successful reality TV show? Let's be real, she probably could. Whatever happens, it's clear that this Drake-Pusha beef is far from over. And with Kim K in the mix now, things are bound to get even more dramatic. Stay tuned, guys. This story is far from over.
Out here spreading rumors that Kendrick was mistreating the mother of his kids, Whitney Alford. Well, Whitney just clapped back with a new IG post, but it's not the reaction Drake was expecting. Looks like Whitney and Kendrick are not fazed in the slightest by Drake's antics, and you know that's driving him crazy.
You mentioned Whitney, and Kendrick Lamar's wife name is Whitney. You have to be prepared for anything. There is no oh, nah, I can't believe you said that. No, because you're talking crazy already, too.
So in case you missed it, Drake recently cranked up the pettiness to a whole new level by hiring a model to rep his OVO clothing brand who looks a lot like Kendrick's fiancée, Whitney Alford. We're talking same hairstyle, same vibe, and she's even rocking a white tank top, just like the one Whitney wore in the Not Like Us video. But here's where it gets even more bizarre. Drake's been pushing this narrative in his diss tracks that Whitney is a DV victim, suggesting that Kendrick mistreats her, even though there's no evidence of this whatsoever. And he even dropped a hint that one of Whitney's kids was fathered by Kendrick's longtime friend, Dave Free. On Family Matters, Drake raps, "You a dog and you know it. You just play sweet. Your baby mama captions always screaming, 'Save me.' You did her dirty all your life. You trying to make peace. I heard that one of them little kids might be Dave Free." Later on in the track, Drake doubles down on the DV allegations, rapping, "When you put your hands on your girl, is it self-defense? Cause she bigger than you? They hired a crisis management team to clean up the fact that you beat on your queen." Now what possessed Drake to start spreading rumors about Kendrick putting his hands on Whitney, especially with zero evidence to back it up, is still a mystery. But whatever his plan was, it seriously backfired. No one's buying those allegations, and to top it off, Kendrick and Whitney seem totally unbothered by the whole thing. And you can bet Drake is losing his mind over it because he's been trying to get under Kendrick's skin ever since Kendrick obliterated him with Not Like Us, which turned out to be more than just a diss track. It became a full-on cultural movement. So Whitney, who very rarely posts on social media, just shared new pictures of her and the kids on Instagram. And she also debuted her nonprofit organization called Love Plus Ethos, based in LA, whose goal is to help women through postpartum and their journey into motherhood. Whitney posted a carousel with 16 photos, including some super sweet snaps with her kids. And in the caption, she talked about being grateful for her life and living inside of her answered prayers. "Loving me, loving my family," Whitney wrote, "working daily to assist in lifting the collective frequency. Happy to be outside in the sun, chilling with my babies. Grateful for the opportunity to be their mommy." Oh, and in case you're wondering where's Kendrick, Whitney dropped a big hint that everything's good between them by posting a photo of herself wearing Kendrick's glasses, the same ones he wore at that pop-up concert in Inglewood back in June. As for fans, they're saying at this point it's sad to see Drake crashing out like this and still acting like a teenager at his big age. One fan said, "I'm convinced Drake is a grown-ass man with the attitude of a kid and the mind of a teenager." And another person wrote, "From everything we heard on Mr. Morale, Whitney is a very grounded person who has worked on herself and developed her emotional muscles. So I'm sure that she can read Aubrey's desperation better than most folks. His antics would be sad if he wasn't trying to destroy someone's family."